In a tranquil valley surrounded by majestic mountains and lush meadows, there was a secluded monastery where an enlightened sage resided with his devoted students. The monastery was a haven of serenity, with the melody of chirping birds and the gentle rustling of leaves providing a soothing backdrop. The sage, renowned for his profound wisdom and benevolent guidance, had taken in a group of young seekers who yearned for spiritual awakening and inner peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified about new videos. Among these seekers was a particularly enthusiastic young man named Henry. Henry was diligent in his studies and unwavering in his spiritual pursuits. Every morning, he would wake up before the sun had risen to meditate. After completing his morning rituals, he would set off for the nearby village to collect alms. This daily task served both as a means of sustenance for the monastery and an opportunity for the seekers to engage with the villagers. Henry's path to the village led him through a winding trail that meandered through a dense forest and crossed a picturesque stream. Each day, he would pass by the stream, where the clear, sparkling water flowed gently over smooth pebbles. The stream was a vital resource for the village, and its pristine beauty was admired by everyone who beheld it. One day, as Henry was on his way to the village, he noticed something peculiar. Approaching the stream, he saw a young Emma named Emma from the village crouched behind a large boulder, peering intently at something on the other side of the water. The Emma's fascination was so intense that she seemed oblivious to everything around her. Intrigued by her behavior, Henry decided to investigate. He quietly approached the boulder and gently asked, "Young one, what are you so engrossed in?" The Emma glanced up, startled by his presence, and whispered, "Shh, don't make a sound. I'm watching those magnificent birds." Henry followed her gaze and saw a group of vibrant birds perched on a branch, their feathers shimmering in the sunlight. The birds were singing melodious tunes, their colors creating a mesmerizing display. While the scene was undoubtedly enchanting, Henry felt a pang of unease. He knew that focusing so intensely on something, to the exclusion of all else, might not be appropriate. He turned to the Emma and said gently, "It's wonderful to appreciate nature's beauty, but remember, it's important to maintain balance and not become too absorbed." The Emma, unfazed by Henry's comment, replied, "But look at their colors and hear their songs. I'm mesmerized by their beauty. Just see how they flutter and dance." Reluctantly, Henry looked again, and as he did, he couldn't help but be drawn into the sight of the birds' vibrant display. As he watched, his thoughts began to wander, and he felt a growing sense of enchantment. Henry realized he was becoming increasingly absorbed in the scene, feeling as if he was part of the birds' world. Caught up in these new sensations, Henry found himself crouching behind the boulder with the Emma, watching the birds with greater intensity. His heart raced as he wrestled with the conflicting emotions within him. A sense of guilt and discomfort began to grow, and he questioned, "What am I doing? This isn't right. I need to refocus." With a sense of urgency, Henry quickly stood up and resumed his journey to the village. Once he arrived, he threw himself into his tasks, trying to dispel the lingering thoughts about the birds. Despite his efforts, the image of the stream and the birds kept replaying in his mind, making it challenging to concentrate on his duties. His thoughts were increasingly consumed by what he had seen, leading to a sense of frustration. The next day, Henry's curiosity was still piqued. He left for the village earlier than usual, driven by a desire to see the birds again. He returned to the stream and once more crouched behind the boulder to observe. The Emma was there, and together they watched the birds as they flitted and sang. What had started as a fleeting interest had turned into a daily ritual for Henry. Each day he would hide behind the boulder, shifting his focus from his duties to the enchanting display of nature. As days turned into weeks, Henry's preoccupation with the birds deepened. His mind was no longer focused on his spiritual practices or the teachings of the sage. Instead, he was consumed by thoughts of the stream and the birds he had observed. His work at the monastery suffered, and he grew increasingly distant from his fellow seekers. His meditation practice, once a source of tranquility, was overshadowed by his fixation. The sage, perceptive to the changes in Henry's behavior, sensed that something was amiss. One day, observing Henry's distracted demeanor, the sage decided to address the issue directly. He approached Henry and said, "Today I will accompany you to collect alms." Henry, surprised by the sage's offer, responded nervously, "No, master, please don't trouble yourself. I can go alone." The sage, however, insisted, "I would like to come with you. Let us go together." Reluctantly, Henry set off with the sage, feeling a growing sense of anxiety. As they walked, Henry's mind was preoccupied with thoughts of the stream and the birds. The sage, keenly aware of Henry's distraction, followed closely. When they reached the stream, Henry's heart sank upon seeing the familiar boulder where he had been hiding. He knew the Emma would be there, and the temptation was strong. Unable to resist, Henry approached the boulder and began to crouch behind it, hoping the sage wouldn't notice. To his dismay, the sage observed everything. As Henry peered through the foliage, trying to catch another glimpse of the birds, the sage's voice broke the silence. "Are you here to admire these birds?" Henry turned, startled, and was overwhelmed with fear at the sight of the sage. His heart raced, and he began to tremble. The Emma, seeing the sage, quickly fled the scene, leaving Henry alone with the sage. Henry, feeling a deep sense of shame, fell to his knees and pleaded, "Please forgive me, master. I became so enchanted by the birds that I lost my focus. I promise it won't happen again." The sage looked at Henry with a calm and understanding gaze. "Remember, my child, the things we become obsessed with can take us away from our true purpose. It is essential to appreciate beauty and wonder, but it must be done with balance and awareness. If you immerse yourself too deeply in one thing, you may lose sight of what is truly important. Seek harmony and let your heart guide you." The sage and Henry walked back to the monastery together. Henry made a conscious effort to distance himself from the boulder and the Emma's influence. However, the struggle wasn't over. Despite his efforts, Henry found himself increasingly frustrated and disconnected. His interactions with fellow seekers became strained, and he struggled to maintain his focus during meditation. One evening, the sage, noticing Henry's inner turmoil, approached him with concern. "What troubles you, Henry?" Overwhelmed with emotion, Henry began to weep. "Master, ever since that day by the stream, I can't escape the intrusive thoughts about the birds. The more I try to push them away, the stronger they become. I am lost and don't know how to regain my focus. Please guide me." The sage took Henry to a peaceful garden within the monastery grounds. Standing among the vibrant flowers and lush greenery, the sage spoke gently. "Consider your mind as a garden and your thoughts as seeds. If you plant seeds of harmful plants and nurture them, soon your garden will be overrun with these weeds. Conversely, if you choose to plant seeds of beautiful flowers and care for them, your garden will flourish with vibrant blooms." Henry listened attentively as the sage continued. "In the same way, the thoughts we continually focus on and nourish will grow and dominate our minds. If you redirect your attention and cultivate positive and wholesome thoughts, the negative or undesirable ones will begin to fade away." Henry, still troubled, asked, "But master, during meditation, my mind is overwhelmed with unwanted thoughts. How can I prevent this?" The sage responded with a gentle smile. "Do not resist those thoughts. The more you fight them, the stronger they become. By trying to suppress them, you are inadvertently giving them power. When you become too attached to these thoughts, their impact on you intensifies. Allow the thoughts to come and go. Observe them without judgment, as if you are watching a movie. If you become emotionally involved in the story, you will react to every twist and turn. But if you view it as mere fiction, you will remain unaffected. Similarly, during meditation, treat your thoughts as projections on a screen. Stay present and aware, and you will eventually find peace. Henry took the sage's advice to heart. He made a deliberate effort to avoid distractions and focus on positive and uplifting activities. Over time, he found that his intrusive thoughts began to diminish. During meditation, he stopped resisting his thoughts and allowed them to flow naturally. As a result, Henry experienced a profound sense of tranquility and contentment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified about new videos. Reflecting on his journey, Henry realized that many people, particularly the young, sometimes struggle with unwanted thoughts, especially during meditation. It's important to understand that these thoughts are not random. They often stem from previous experiences and exposures. While it is natural to have fleeting thoughts and feelings, obsessing over them is not healthy. Constant preoccupation with such thoughts often indicates that one has allowed them to take root in the mind. Some individuals may find it challenging to control their thoughts after exposure to various stimuli. However, with awareness and practice, one can cultivate a balanced and harmonious state of mind. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe.